Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Cool. I've been having Zoom audio issues all day long, so I'm glad that hasn't carried over into the evening. Um,
Yes, I
Good
can.
evening, everyone. I am Commissioner Jake Falaschini from District 1C07. This is the ABC and Public Safety Committee meeting for ANC 1C. On Wednesday, March 13th at 7:01 p.m. I am calling this meeting to order. I am joined here by Commissioners Barney Shapiro and Peter Wood. We have a quorum of the commission or of the committee. Um, Commissioners, we have four items as proposed additions to the agenda. I would entertain someone moving those to the agenda for tonight.
Yeah, I moved
Well,
them. I so moved. You can
Okay,
text
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let me just move those up in the agenda. So we've got them up here. And um, it is my understanding that we have a representative from precinct 303 to join us here this evening. Yep, LaShawn Lockerman, Captain Lockerman is here. Sean, can we please promote Captain Lockerman? Captain Lockerman, could you raise your hand in the functions at the bottom of the Zoom, and that'll make it easier to thank you very much. And Sean, you can promote the captain. Hey, Captain, how are you?
I'm just fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining us here this evening. I really appreciate it.
No problem. As you can see, I'm not at work, so I'm not in uniform. I'm actually in my car. I just left an appointment, but
Uh,
I believe I have everything you need, and we can get started.
it's so kind of you to join us this evening, even though you're not working. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. We know you're filling in for your colleague as well, who's out on sick leave.
Yes, he is. That's okay.
Great. Well, yeah, if you wouldn't mind going over the crime statistics from February, we'd really appreciate that.
Okay, now, do you have it? I actually pulled the crime statistics starting at should have been okay. The last 30 days would be February 12th to March 12th.
That's totally fine. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
And so for the last 30 days, what I have is that we have had an overall 40% increase in violent crime. But let me explain to you how that happened. Okay, we had last year, for the same 30-day period last year, we had zero sex abuse. We had one, and I believe that was domestic. And we had, in comparison to the previous the same 30-day period last year, we had three robberies, and this year we had two. We were actually down 50% in ADWs. So in real numbers, we had three more crimes than we had this time last year, but in percentages, it's a 40% increase. And our overall crime is negative 47%. We're down 53% in property crime, which includes burglaries, motor vehicle theft, theft from autos, and just general theft from stores and things like that. So we're down 53% in property crimes and overall 47% in overall crime.
That's great. That's very good to hear. Are you starting, and is the precinct starting to feel like we're kind of on the downslope from the surge that we experienced mid last year?
Yes, I am seeing a downslope. Now, I attribute the downslope. Well, it was high last year, even during the winter months. Okay. So, but crime is always down during the winter months. Now, over the winter period, we had the police department as a whole has added some new initiatives. And so that we believe is driving down crime. I believe that we have different tools that we work together. For example, we had somebody that I believe it was an attempt robbery, but based on the law, we didn't classify it as such. We classified it last night as an ADW. This wasn't in 303. I'm just giving you an example. But because they just didn't have time to say that they were trying to rob the guy ran faster. All he did was see a gun. So he ran before they even had a chance to say anything. So anyway, but with that, we were able to find that same car, because we all work together as a team, the entire district. So it's not like just 3D working as a silo and then 70 working as a silo. So we have tools that now we all work as a team, so we're able to share information. And so we found out that the same car that attempted to rob I'm not going to say an attempted robbery, that's just what I believe. But like I said, they didn't get a chance to say anything. But the person that pulled the gun on the citizen last night, that they had also committed robberies in a couple of different districts in the District of Columbia. And the car matched the lookout for a car that had been previously stolen. Well, because of that, we were all working together. We didn't catch them, but the car was recovered. So they attempted to carjack somebody else. That was unsuccessful, and the car was ultimately recovered. Hopefully, we'll get enough information from the car that we're able to maybe match fingerprints or something like that and ultimately solve the case. That is happening. Recently, we had great success where utilizing our new JTCC, Real-Time Crime Center, I'm sorry, RTCC, that which is not completely up and running. I know you probably saw that on the news. It's not, but we used to have the jock. So what they've done is they've moved the jock, so the personnel is there and a lot of the stuff is there, but not everything that they're going to have. Okay, it's what they're going to have on a much smaller scale, but they have kind of moved to that building and moved to that area. They're just still waiting on equipment. But using the new technology that we have there, they were able to basically, using intelligence-led policing and all the tracking devices, because a lot of cars now have tracking devices in them that come directly from the manufacturer. And so they were able to make an arrest and lock up this guy in Baltimore County, and they charged him federally with the carjacking. As you can see, the new crime bill passed. Please excuse me, my allergies, feels like something's in my throat. The new crime bill passed. And so they've already started creating the drug-free zones. They have not done it in Patrol Services North, which is 3D is part of Patrol Services North. Patrol Services North is 2D, 3D, 4D, and 5D. They've already started though in Patrol Services South. So, I thought that we were going to have to wait for new general orders, but no, they already had it drafted. They were able to push it out immediately at midnight, and they've already designated the crime-free zones in Patrol Services South, which is going to be District 1, 6, and 7. So I do believe that with everything that we're doing, I wish they had changed some other laws, but we something is better than nothing, right? So I think that there may be some other changes that they will make eventually in the future. But right now, I believe with the tools that we have, the new technology, and the fact that they're giving us some tools back in our toolbox that we can use by rolling back some of those laws, I do believe that we are going to see a difference. I believe that the real test is going to be the summertime, though. As the weather gets warm, I think we're really going to be able to see. However, but I do have to say that our crime has been reduced all over the city in 3D and 303, as you can see, just based on our numbers in a 30-day crime period. But all over the city, we've seen a significant reduction.
That's really wonderful to hear. Last year was really scary for a lot of folks. So it's really good to hear that. And we really appreciate the hard work that you and your colleagues are doing, Captain. So thank you so much. I'm going to open it up to Commissioner Shapiro. It looks like he has a question. And then we'll open it up to questions from Commissioner Wood and then from the audience.
Two questions, or three maybe. The first one concerning the drug-free zones. Have you all had discussions as to where you might want to implement a drug-free zone within 3D?
We have not as of yet. I've seen a couple of things pop up in my email today, but I was not at work today. But I do know that the drug-free zones are designated by the chief of police, and they do them based on statistics. So I've seen some things come from our crime analysis, and they do everything based on numbers. So it's probably going to be based on the number of arrests, the number of crimes, and different things that have occurred in specific areas. It's not going to be a situation where a citizen can necessarily say, I like to have the corner of, and I'm just throwing out anything, let's say 11th and P, right? I want this to be a drug-free zone. I don't believe it's going to work like that.
All right. And can we go back to your stats for just a second?
Mm-hmm.
You talked about a decrease in property crimes. How do the porch pirates? And I know this is a pain in the ass crime for y'all because it is not at all, but it is the pain in the ass crime that we hear about every single day. Okay, I mean it is. And how do you classify the porch pirates?
Well, they're classified as a theft. Depending on what was stolen, depends on which what kind of theft it is, whether it's a theft 1 or theft 2. The majority of them are theft 2s. And what we have done recently is that we have our CST units in the 3rd district have worked with citizens. If people are willing, you can send me an email, and they have put trackers on boxes to try to catch these people. The air tags, they've used that to catch these people. So we do, and no, and of course, no, it's not a homicide, it's not a carjacking or anything like that, but it's still important, right? Like I order, God knows, my husband says that the UPS man must live in my house, right? I'm always having packages come. But and I want my packages. When I look online and I see that I got a new outfit or I trust me, I have a small addiction here, with shopping online and Amazon. So I look forward to my packages. I feel like I'm getting a gift every time I order something new. So I get it. It's even though it may not be the crime of the century, it's still important, because you want what you've ordered. So we are trying to do things to combat that, and that is one way. So if you have any citizen that is willing to volunteer, you can send me an email, have them send me an email. I will put you in connection with Lieutenant Jonathan Fleming, who is the lieutenant that runs our CST unit, and see if we can set something up.
All right, a quick follow-up on that, all right? If it is a postal service, do y'all get the Postal Service police involved at all if it's a USPS package?
I believe they do. I have not worked really with the Postal Service. I have heard that there are times, because sometimes they get assaulted on routes, and the postman actually, and people will come out. I believe, like, if people break into mailboxes, that's handled by the postmaster, the Postal Service. I have not personally dealt with them hand in hand, but as far as the package thefts, just somebody coming taking a box off of your porch or from in front of your building, that is definitely something that we take a report for and we do try to deal with. Unfortunately, a lot of them are just gone. But if you have like repeat offenders, we can try to catch them.
What can reporting porch pirates, can people just use TRU?
You can.
Okay.
So sometimes I tell people you call 911 for everything, right? And the 911 operator will send you where you need to go, because everything, to be honest with, they don't dispatch everything. Some things do go to the TRU unit, because you can't call a citizen can't call them directly anyway.
Oh, that's what okay.
So you have to be routed there from, and depending on the call that comes in, I don't know the criteria that they use. I know that one of the criteria is that it has to be just a report, right? You don't need a police officer to necessarily respond. Right. But I don't know if they do it based on the volumes of calls or I because that's all handled by OUC.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Wood.
Hi, thanks. First of all, good to meet you. Thanks for coming tonight.
Nice meeting you.
So I got two very unrelated questions. One, you started off just and mentioned or kind of yeah alluded to a domestic incident, and I'd often just this is an important issue, I think, and I'd testify a lot about improving resources for survivors of domestic violence. But like compared to other crimes, at least from my understanding, it's really hard to tell what the trends in domestic violence are because so much of it goes unreported or underreported. Just like anecdotally, have you perceived in the last few years if there's been any change, or even months, if there's been any change in people being more or less open to coming to you all or coming to some sort of authority when incidents are happening at home? Because I know that the case of like speculated and also reported domestic violence shot up like a lot of things when the pandemic lockdown happened. So I'm curious where things stand right now.
I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't looked at those statistics because we've had domestics ebb and flow, right?
Mhm.
Like we have the pandemic. Whenever people are home, we have a lot more domestics, and that's citywide. Okay. In certain areas of the city, I found that when I was a lieutenant in the second district, I found that a lot of times neighbors called the police, right? And that may have to do with the social economic status of people in the
Mhm.
second district, where people aren't as quick to report.
Yeah.
um I believe that most of the time when police respond to the home for domestic violence is never the first time it's happened. Often this is a pattern, and people have been going through this for a long time, and it takes a long time for people to report. And domestic violence can be whether it is against children. It falls under, so many things fall under that umbrella because it can be a sex abuse crime, but it's still domestic violence, and that can
Mhm.
be a sex abuse crime against a child or an adult. All right. I don't have any measurable statistics right now. If you want to send me an email and I can try to gather some stuff for you, I can get with our crime statistician and see if we can get some things together. It is not, domestic abuse is very hard to combat because we can't do an operation for domestic abuse. You understand what I'm saying? There is no, the only thing we can do is tell people to call the police, right? Like you can feel safe in calling the police. We work with nonprofit organizations and other government organizations. We can move you to a safe space. There are things that we can do. We will do our very best to protect you. But when you're talking about domestic affairs, you're talking about matters of the heart, and there's nothing that we can do in particular besides offering information and making sure that when we respond that we do the right thing. So if an arrest needs to be made, we make an arrest, and that is taken very seriously. I have myself, when before I got made a captain, I've personally done some investigations on officers when I was a lieutenant at the 7th district. I did some investigations on some officers that did not make an arrest when an arrest was necessary. We take that seriously. We do track those, and they get suspension days as a result of it, and a significant amount of suspension days. So we do take it very, very seriously when it happens. It's always been, most of the domestic cases when I was an officer that I responded to were the run of the mill, right? Like it was it wasn't somebody that was beat really badly, but somebody had gotten, maybe they'd been assaulted, or maybe you'd had some property destroyed. It was things that back in the day, pre OJ Simpson, because that's when all the laws changed, somebody would say just take a walk, right? But now we don't tell people to take a walk. We make an arrest. If the arrest is no papered by the U.S. Attorney's Office, it's no papered, but we've at least created some space to allow people to cool down. So I believe that, and I have seen domestic abuse result in homicides, unfortunately. Um, and so I've seen, a couple of stalking things result in homicides. But, we just do the best we can to make sure that we do our job when we go, that we provide people with the services that are available to them, when we go, and we make them know that when they call the police, they have a safe space here, and we will try to get them some help.
I appreciate all that. And like I said, completely different question. We've been previously told on this committee by a different officer that it was kind of protocol-ish that a lot more resources from the third district were getting directed towards U Street, especially on nights and weekends, than compared to the business corridors on 18th and Columbia and Adams Morgan. It's almost summertime when we'll have a lot more people going out, presumably. Is that still the case, that there's more of a concentration or a prioritization of officers on U Street compared to where the bars and restaurants are in Adams Morgan?
Yes, but I run them both. So we have a nightlife. We have people that come in and work overtime, and then we have people that are assigned to nightlife. That is all that they do. So we try to spread them out. And normally, if I have people that come in during the summer months and they come in and they want to volunteer, they want to work overtime and things like that, I'll normally have them spread out. Also, we have an overlap period because the officers and sergeants are on 10-hour tours. So on the busy nights, on the club nights, Thursday through typically Sunday, it usually calms down around Sunday, but Thursday through Sunday, what I do is I take the people, especially during the summer months, because that's when they're able to get out on foot. You know, we do have rules under, if it's under a certain degree outside, then they can't be on foot. But during the warmer months at night, what I do is I take the evening officers during the overlap period, it means that midnight has arrived into work. Midnights take over the cars to answer calls for service. What I do is I take the evening units and I put them on foot and I split them up evenly between 18th and Columbia Road and U Street. So we try to have enough coverage, but they get off at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. But we do have people out there. And then if they look and they find through stats. Everything is driven by numbers, right? So if Columbia Road has had an uptick in crime, then what we do is we have another unit that works, and that's a large group of people called the Robbery Suppression Initiative. And we take them and we'll concentrate them in that area.
That's good to know.
By
Thank
the,
you so
by the way, you had the DUI bus on 18th Street this last weekend. It's a great tool. I mean, you know what I mean by the DUI bus.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know whether you sent it there or
No. They just move around. That's not even handled within the third district.
It should be parked somewhere on 18th and U every night of the week.
We wish, but we have to spread our resources around the city.
Captain, much appreciated. Let's open it up for any audience questions. Is there anyone from the audience with any questions? I'm not seeing any, and given that it's your day off and you're on the phone with us, we've already taken up too much of your time, Captain. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me. And I will continue to do this meeting until my lieutenant returns back from sick leave. So, but you have to please remind me, and don't feel bad for I have a computer. I mean, I take a computer home, so I can always do it even when I'm off. But just please remind me, because I have 100 things on my plate. So if you just let me know a couple of days ahead of time, so I'll make sure I have your stats for you and I'm ready to go.
I absolutely will. Thank you so much, Captain. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was nice meeting you all.
You too.
And
Thanks
have a
for all you
great
do.
evening.
You
Enjoy
too.
the weather.
You too.
All right.
All right. Next item up on the agenda is we have two new liquor licenses, two new medical cannabis license requests for the neighborhood. We'll go to the liquor licenses first. The cannabis requests are actually outside of Adams Morgan. We've been notified of them because I think that's the rule, that they need to notify the entire ward. But we will likely just dismiss them at the end of the meeting because they're outside of the boundaries of Adams Morgan, but I wanted to include them anyway, just so we could have a conversation about it. So first item up is Fabulous Restaurant, which is at 2406 18th Street Northwest. The two participants who are on for that are Donald Johnson and Zachariah Ibrahim. Could you both please raise your hands, and if there's anyone else on for that agenda item, please raise your hand and you'll be promoted. This will be quick. Vivian, we'll get to you soon. I know we're running a little later than I told you would be on. So thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. Don, hey, great for you to join us. Zach, thanks for joining. Let me just open it up that this is uh, ABRA license 127475. The licensee is Lucky LLC. The trade name is Fabulous Restaurant. It is a retailer Class C restaurant license. The hours of operation, sales and services that are being requested in this are Sunday to Thursday, 9 a.m. to 2 a.m., Friday and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. Thank you so much for being here, Don. You want to tell us a little bit more about your restaurant and what you're requesting here?
Yeah, well, first I just want to tell you a little bit about myself.
Please.
I'm sorry. I'm a Washingtonian. I grew up here. I live in Allentown, actually, on 2205 Champlain Street. So I'm very aware of, the issues surrounding not only Allentown, but everywhere. I attended Duke Ellington School for the Arts. I'm a jazz artist and proud of it. 10 albums in. And I love what I do. I'm passionate about the music. We wanted to do jazz. I mean, I remember there was a time when they had a lot of jazz restaurants or jazz establishments, and they just don't have them no more like they used to. So I kind of want to keep that alive and bring that alive, and I think it would be a great addition to Adams Morgan. And we want to serve great food. You know. And we're excited. We worked hard and renovating the place. I mean, I don't know if you guys had a chance to peek in, but we put roses and, we really did a lot of work there from where it was.
That's great. I haven't actually had a chance to come over and check it out yet, so I definitely will very soon. I know you're technically in Commissioner Wood's district, but I kind of take all of 18th Street as my own. So that's I've got the other side of the street all the way up. So I guess I don't know. I just I love 18. But I don't see actually a music endorsement on this particular liquor license. So do you mind just letting me know what kind of music and when you would do it?
Well, jazz. I want to do live jazz. And we would do it. I mean, I would like to do it Monday, Monday through Sunday if we can. I mean, jazz brings a different type of audience, if you know. It's deeply rooted in American history and in society. And I think, sort of like what what is it, Adams Morgan? I think they do live music, but they do more blues, I think, because they do that 7 days a week, I think. But we want to kind of be a premier venue for jazz.
Well, we definitely miss Columbia Station and the
Yes.
awesome jazz
And
that you.
actually, I played at the Blue Angel many years. That was one of my first places that I performed in, the Blue Angel, and that place was just amazing. Music every night, and then they had the great food to go along with. I think Paul Solomon ran it, if I can remember. But that was, and I think that later became Columbia Station. Correct? I think.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right. Cool. Well, let's talk about working on that license to make sure that we can get you a music endorsement on it, so that's possible there. And I mean, having a jazz establishment back in the neighborhood would be absolutely wonderful. So I certainly would be very in favor of trying to figure that out. That address does not have any immediate upstairs neighbors, correct? It is only the bottom floor. And then given that, would you plan to do some sort of soundproofing around the building with your renovation just to make sure that we're keeping the music contained and it isn't spilling
Absolutely.
out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's contained to a extent, actually, because I brought my horn a couple of times in there and played, and I think it's kind of I think I wanted to hear the acoustic sound in it, and I think it's pretty contained. But we can do more, and whatever we need to do to make it happen.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
Jeff Proctor. I'm the chief operating officer working with them as the engineer. And there has been some sound abatement that's already been done, but we do plan on doing additional abatement because right now, the ABRA requirement is no sound can radiate within a certain distance outside of the building. We do plan to maintain that within the facility. And like I said, we're using even endorsement is a piece of what we're really pushing. But yes, to be conducive to the neighbors, we do plan on doing that, as well as the landlord owns the two apartments that are directly above the establishment or whatnot. We plan on renting those out.
Okay. I can see Commissioner Shapiro was having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. I think I caught all of that. We've
I
got
think
some,
what he was. I'm sorry. I think what he was saying, the two apartments up, we're going to be renting those as well, for staff, and others. I mean, but we were going to take control of those, so there's no issues with that.
okay, great. I guess is this in the old B&K convenience store address, or am I getting that wrong? Is this the one that's right on the corner, or is this the one that's one or two up from the corner?
It's directly on the corner. Yes. Sorry about that.
Ah, got it. Okay, now I understand. Yes, that does have 2 floors above it. So understood.
Yeah.
Commissioner Wood, you have a question.
Hi, I have a few things. First of all, Douglas, Donald, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'll lead with this, that I'm supportive. This little chunk of 18th Street has seen a lot of businesses leave, so it's a bit of a dead spot right now, and I hope that you can turn around. Not too much pressure on you, though. Probably worth commenting, because we talked about music type. I don't think that we can actually ask about music type. I like jazz. I'm supportive of it, but the fact that having music come, I think, is just a good thing in general. If I'm looking at the right document, there's a request for live entertainment endorsement on the placard. So that's something that's included. Also, I think almost identical to the same license that was to the previous tenant. That was Glory. Is that correct? So
we have no affiliation with the previous tenant, but I believe it was named Glory before, because in filling out some of the documentation and stuff like that was the name came from that.
No, I just thought it was worth mentioning because that I was on the commission at the time we decided to support that as well. Basically the exact same setup, and sounds like you are really dedicated to your product. And the last people were as well, but unfortunately it didn't work out. So I thought it was worth pointing that out. And I'll come by. I've been enjoying watching how you're developing the space and having people say to me, "Hey, what's with all of the roses?" I'm like, I don't know yet, but so I'll come by and say hi.
Well, the previous owners were a bunch of males, all males, and we have some females a part of our staff, so they wanted to soften it up to some degree, because the main focus is the restaurant, with the music as kind of a background or whatnot. We wanted to soften it up from because they had painted dark and stuff like that. And we wanted to brighten it up and had the female consultants come in and tell us to add the roses and the flowers and stuff like that. more open for the females to come. So.
Good to hear it. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And yeah, like I said, supportive, wish you all the best of luck, and let's keep things moving. I like it.
And Commissioner Wright, Commissioner Wood, you're absolutely right. I misread the application, and there is a music endorsement that's in there. So my apologies. I totally just missed that as I was reading it. So that was my mistake. Commissioner Shapiro.
To both Douglas and to Donald, what other bars / restaurants / music venues have y'all run in the past?
I own Twins many years. Yeah, okay. Twins Lounge.
I vote yes.
Yeah. Well, they had two owned by the test fires. There was one on U Street, and there was one up in on Colorado Avenue.
Right. I used to go to both of them.
Yeah, and I mean, it was just such, the neighborhood then was in transition. It was transitioning, and so it was perfect for what we were doing, and offering live music and the food, and it just really created a warm, inviting atmosphere. So.
I've been managing Ski since 2013 with the release of his album Underdogs on Top. So I've been there through that as well as Jazz for Life. So we've been traveling around, touring a lot. Now we just kind of focused on getting a place in Washington, D.C. and setting our feet. I have a barbecue restaurant in Louisville, Kentucky called Louisville Smokers. So the restaurateur business I've been in, as well as I have a up on Capitol Hill, it used to be called Louisiana Cafe, right down 9th and G Street. So that's my past experience with restaurants in here.
That's great. And what kind of food are you all thinking you're going to do there?
Well, we have a menu. We have, I mean, I'm always, the creative part, the creative artistry of me is always thinking a little bit outside the box, a little bit, if you will. So we're gonna do like stuffed turkey wings, pork chop sandwiches, salmon. I think we have salmon stuffed with crab meat on the menu. Crab cakes. Of course, we have the fabulous wings. Can't ignore those, and the fabulous burger.
Yeah.
So we're really gonna push the fabulous theme.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. Okay, so we're going to also add the Kentucky's cuisine there with actually barbecue. We have an indoor smoker. It's actually in the establishment as well. So the prefer of, I don't know if you guys have rib tips before. That's kind of a Louisville smoker, a Louisville tradition. So hickory smoked rib tips, as well as what we call pineapple coleslaw, which is some of the things that I've, grown up with. Southern food, hearty food, good, healthy food. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say all that healthy, but a healthy or whatnot. But just the main thing is a restaurant. The main thing being the food. That's what brings everybody out, and really just trying to create an atmosphere where you can come out, enjoy yourself. Been through this before with Louisiana Cafe up on Capitol Hill. The biggest problem is when you have live entertainment, do it at a restaurant or whatnot, it's getting people to leave. People will come and they'll stay, and flipping tables can be kind of difficult, but that's kind of one of our challenges. But other than that, we're happy to come back to Adams Morgan. When I first moved to Adams Morgan, 26 years ago, it was a hot spot I used to go to when I first came in, and we really want to target an area to where it draws all people from all cultures, from backgrounds and stuff like that, where people can come centrally and get a good plate of food and get some live entertainment here in Washington, D.C., which is kind of gone away. We both, sat down and talked about this to a large degree. A lot of the live music venues and stuff like that have gone the way of U Street and stuff like that. And when I first came in, it was really like kind of the central, and we want to try to bring that feel back.
Well, I love it. We really appreciate you investing in the neighborhood. It's really great. It's wonderful to be able to welcome you.
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll open it up to any audience questions, and if not, we can move on from there. All right, I'm not seeing any audience questions. So let's do. Are y'all seeking a stipulated license during the time when?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
So I'll move support for this liquor license to the full ANC in our April meeting, along with support for a stipulated license under the condition that we work on a settlement agreement with the owners beforehand in order to just make sure that everything's ironed out and smooth as they enter into the neighborhood. Second that. Cool. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. All right.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen. Welcome to Adams Morgan.
Thank you. And we're excited.
Can I ask get a copy of the settlement agreement? You guys mentioned the settlement agreement you wanted to.
Yeah, so these are we do just kind of a normal one with all establishments that come into the neighborhood, mostly just about noise, trash. It's all stuff that you're supposed to be doing by law anyway as a
Yeah.
business,
Okay.
but it just gives us as a ANC, it gives us an ability to be able to work with you if we ever have any problems.
Absolutely.
99% of the time, we don't need to use it. And
Right.
so this is really just in the few instances where we have businesses that kind of go off the rails. But 99% of the time, it's not even exercised at all.
Okay. Sounds great.
We look forward to, and I look forward to meeting each and every one of you guys soon.
Oh, we'll be out. You say you look forward to it, but we're going to be
Yes.
there more than you want us to be.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. I welcome everyone. I welcome everyone.
And we actually would like to
Can't
invite
buy
you
us
guys.
drinks. Can't buy us drinks.
Even now that COVID's over, I don't know if you guys do face-to-face meetings or whatnot. We'd
Yeah.
even love to host you.
And like to, take you on a tour of the restaurant as well.
Yeah.
That's so kind. We'll absolutely, we'll connect offline. We would love to come over and see it. So thank you both, gentlemen. Really appreciate meeting you.
Sounds great.
All
Thank
right.
you.
It's been
Cool. And next item up on the agenda is a application for Izumi. That is the two people who are here in the meeting to represent Izumi are Vivian Zhao and Andrew. Can you please promote them, Sean? Vivian,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. This is well past the time that I told you.
No problem, no problem. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your patience. I really
Mhm.
appreciate it. Thank you very
Mhm.
much for being here tonight.
Mhm.
And Andrew is also with you, correct?
Uh, no, I don't. Who
Oh,
is Andrew? Yeah.
okay. Sorry, I thought that there was an Andrew on the. No, sorry, it was Justin was the
Justin.
was on it. Yeah.
Justin is not with me right now. So because he's our master chef, he's working right now, but I can fully represent the business and answer all of your questions. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just I had
Mhm.
the wrong name in my head. So
No problem, no
Um,
problem.
But Vivian, welcome. I'm going to just open it really quick by saying that this is ABRA license 127660. The
Mhm.
licensee is Harvest 99 Incorporated. The trade name is Izumi, and
Mhm.
what you're seeking is a retailer's Class C license for 1832 Columbia Road Northwest. The restaurant has seating for 49, a summer garden with a summer capacity of 20, total occupancy load of 74, and you're requesting an alcohol carryout and delivery endorsement, but no music endorsement. The hours of operation that you're seeking are Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m.
Yes,
Is all
correct.
that's all correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's all
Great.
correct.
Cool. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and about your restaurant, Vivian?
Yeah, so actually, we are like a family-owned business. So we already have three restaurants. The first restaurant starting in New York, and the second restaurant in Virginia, and Izumi is our third one in DC. So now we go to very big city, like so we hope we can make some big influence in Adam Morgan. So our food concept is very healthy and also is kind of it's not just the food like sushi or Japanese food. We also try to make it art. I'm not sure, did you check our Google or Yelp review? So we have all straight 5 stars reviews. So all the customers, they give us very high, recommendations, and if you appreciate that, we open a restaurant in Adams Morgan. And also we checked in this area, there's not really good Japanese food for the dine-in service and also the to-go service. So this is why we hope this is a hotspot and we can, make something happen here.
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. So that's great. We're happy to see it and grateful for your investment in our neighborhood. So thank you for doing that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the liquor that you're planning to sell in the establishment and especially for the carryout part of it?
So carrot, because we have we in Virginia, so we did do the carry out orders because sometimes the customer order like they order sushi or they order something they want, definitely like a beer, or because some beer, some liquors we have like sake and beer is they cannot find from any liquor store. So that's a special. We get them like import from Japan, or like we have a special distributor, and so this why is we try to let the customer they get different like taste of liquor and compare matching with the food they're ordering.
That's great. I don't have any other questions. This seems really cut and dry to me and a really easy application. Commissioner Wood.
All right, thanks. So yeah, I agree. I mean, this is, I think, identical or close to identical as the last business that was in the same spot. My household, we eat a lot of sushi, and I was very excited at the news that you're coming in, so I'm biased.
Yeah.
And I'm also a commissioner that represents the area specifically where you will be located, so I'll definitely be coming by to introduce myself more properly. But
Thank you so much.
Where's your Virginia restaurant?
I'm sorry.
Where's the Virginia restaurant you have?
Our Virginia restaurant, our name is in Mosaic. It's called Iron Chef House.
Whereabouts is it?
It's also like a sushi and Japanese
where?
food.
Where is it?
It's a 2985 District Avenue, Suite 145, Fairfax, Virginia 22031.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If you come to Virginia, you can also join us too.
But yeah, I was saying welcome. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Oh, my last question. Are you seeking a stipulated license?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And then are you open to doing just a general settlement agreement, which is what we do with all the businesses in the neighborhood?
Yes, definitely.
Great. Cool. Well, this seems very cut and dry to me. I'll open it up for any audience questions just in case. And I see the bid is on the meeting tonight. They're always here representing their new businesses. So it's great. Brian, thanks for always being on. And with that, I'll move support for this liquor license to our April ANC meeting, as well as a support for a stipulated license until the full license comes through, with the understanding that we'll work with the business owners on a settlement agreement at that time. So seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Vivian, we will move this to our full ANC meeting in April. This came unanimously from committee. I highly doubt that there'll be any need for you to be on that meeting in April. I'll send you the details for it so that you have it in case you want to attend. But normally when it comes through the committee chair just presents to the full ANC about it, and there isn't a need for you to show up twice. But I'll send you the details just in case you want them.
Thank you so much, Jake.
Thank you, Vivian. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Next item on the agenda is All Vibes DC. It's a medical cannabis retailer license, but the location is 3011 Georgia Avenue Northwest. I move that we table this, given that there is no interest in like neighborhood interest in this since it's all the way over on Georgia. But Commissioner Wood, it looks like you had something to say.
I was gonna sort of say that. I don't think we need to do anything, even like vote on a motion, just let it die. But on a related note, and I don't think I'm prepared to discuss it tonight, but it's just something I think that's worth raising until we get more information. The full commission has supported the past application for Caliva and they were rated. I don't know much about what's going on, but I'd like to learn more and we can hopefully discuss that in the future.
Yeah, Commissioner Shapiro, it sounds like you have something to say there.
Well, I was going to discuss the same thing about Caliva, and all I saw was that they were rated, and there are several places were rated, and some of them had substances other than weed. And I brought up the whole kratom thing, and one of the places, and I don't know which one it was because that wasn't released, had weed that was cannabis that was laced with amphetamines, in addition to mushrooms. This is the fault of the city for allowing the gray area to go on. But I think we need to revisit Caliva if there was an issue there. I really do. I'm very supportive of retail licensed cannabis shops, and very unsupportive of anybody that doesn't know where they're getting their cannabis from. I think that I don't know if you've ever experienced or been, whether you've seen people that have, whether it was Special K or some amphetamines, but anything that's laced is just deadly. It really is. And we need to be conscious of this.
Yeah.
So there's nothing. I agree with Peter. We shouldn't table it. We should just let it die. That's all.
Okay. Yep. And mushrooms are now, or psilocybin is now legal in DC. So I don't know the extent to which that is or is not allowed in these shops. I assume
it's not allowed. It's not. It is. It's not legal. And what's worse is that mushrooms are just like anything else. Just like if you don't know the source, the thing that's so good about having the grow centers is that they are controlled, and you know what's going into the product. And people selling, whether it's mushrooms or kratom or weed that's laced, those are significant issues, and those are how people die and have significant psychological problems.
Yeah. Commissioner Wood?
Similarly, I have the same views on food and beverage. Anything we ingest in our bodies, it's important to know where it's coming from, what it's composed of. Like I said, I'm not prepared to discuss it tonight. I think it's good for us to inform ourselves, but I think this incident, it raises an interesting question because it seems from what I can tell, ABCA and I think MPD and a couple other agencies they're separate processes. So it wasn't an ABCA instigated thing. It was something separate. And like Commissioner Shapiro was saying, it's not, there are substances in DC that are in that gray area still, like psilocybin, where it's not completely legalized, but because of initiative, what was it, 71 or whatever, the one that it decriminalized it puts in this area where there may be pressure on different sides. To one side is saying, well, this is something that is not as frowned upon as before, and another entity might come and say, well, we want to come and raid places and take things and put people into precarious legal situations. And as it relates to ABCA licenses, I think Brian emailed us about this today, where it's at least to me, it's unclear if that would violate or neutralize, or not, excuse me, if that would nullate their license they already get. Does it affect if the place has gotten raided and shut down? Does that make it so that the license still forbids any neighboring businesses from assuming a license for the same product because they're not selling it? Like, there's those questions that's not clear, and it could get complicated if there are efforts developing in the city to, independent of ABCA's process for decriminalizing or closing the gap for the gray market. If they're looking at other substances that are in a gray market and there's this kind of crossover, it could get really messy in terms of how it comes. And our perspective as ANC, I think, is a part of that. So I said I wasn't going to talk too much, but those are my thoughts that why we shouldn't talk any further until we're better informed.
Cool, that's fair. I appreciate that. So I'd say we do the exact same thing with the Columbia Height Market application, since that's over on 14th Street and outside of Adams Morgan. So I say we drop that one as well if both of you are so inclined. All right. With that, gentlemen, we have finished up our agenda for this evening. It is 7:50.